Good morning and welcome to Soul Brunch. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending where you are from. Hi, Rev J. Good evening. I can see Haley on Wheels as well. Hello, how are you ladies doing? I am streaming from the United Kingdom. Turn off the emails. There he goes. So, we'll be doing some discussions this next couple of weeks. We'll be doing some meditation. Not as much music as we usually do because my gear is not here. The trip went very well, thank you. I didn't have any problems at all. So I'm just isolating for 10 days, if that can be seen as a problem. Going into YouTube, can you hear better there? Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know that YouTube is better. Very good. Yes, so we are streaming in different platforms at the same time. Hello, Peace. Nice to see you. I can see Christina as well. Hi. Very nice to see you all. We'll be waiting a couple more minutes. As I said, I don't have the piano here, so there will be a little bit less music than usual, a bit more conversation, a bit more meditation, like archetypal kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. So, how has been coming back to life after the whole Christmas craziness? How is the situation there where you are? Are you free to roam around? Are you free to choose if you want to have a vaccination or not? What is going on there where you are? There, I can see Rev on YouTube now. There she is. I will just turn off so they can see you there. And though I think, there it is. Okay. Hi, GD. Nice to see you. Oops, wait a second. Sorry. Something happened to the stream. Okay, I'm back. So, conversation today is going to be about happiness. Yes, I know that's the problem. When we don't have enough people on YouTube, then you can only see the chats here on Inside Timer. And that's okay. Let me just change this to this. What I would like to talk about today is happiness. We have started a discussion a while back. We have done a couple of sessions on this. Happiness was a discussion we had a few weeks ago now, probably months. And after that initial discussion, we wrote a little poem in the structure of Ainto. It's quite a particular structure, as if you can see on your screen. It has this pyramid shape because it has 2 syllables, then 4, then 8, then back to 4, back to 2, 4, 6, 8. Those are the syllables. So 2, 4, 6, 8, then 4, then 3, and then 2. Something like that. No, 2, 4, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 6, 4, 2. That it is. So it has this really nice, interesting pyramid shape. So what we're doing now, we are taking line by line and discussing each line and try to extrapolate everything we talked about. Try to go deeper into what the conversation was, even though we probably don't remember much about it, and what is left of it is this poem. So let me read you the poem first. And by the way, this poem has been turned into a little, we call it a Soul Brunch canapé. It's like a little modern day mantra that we use to work on on this particular topic. So we listen to it over and over again with the idea of absorbing these messages that we have been working on. So searching for a fast ride, but it's just like the wind, yearning it through the whole body. How could I hold to it, follow and strive, reach high? Quick fix, waterfall rush. Why just be happy when if this or that happens or not? Now is the only time, day in, day out, long term. Stress free, not suffering, can't be permanent. It's a process, not an event. The happiness we seek, we find within. It's choice. So, this is what we talked about the last few times. Searching for a fast ride is something that society has been imposing us mostly for financial and commercial reasons. More and more, we are becoming victims of instant gratification. We expect change without having to put in the work. What we see throughout the media is mostly the successes and the results rather than the processes that were necessary to achieve them. This is true particularly with social media. Increase your monthly wage by $4,000 with this half-day course for only $20. Become certified in just 2 hours. Lose 10 pounds in a week. No exercise or diet needed. Make $1,000 a day in just 2 easy steps. Get ripped from your couch in just 4 days, and so on. So instant gratification takes away the uncertainties, gives illusion and false hope. It takes away the opportunity to feel and experience the accomplishment and discipline that it takes to do things the right way. It also delivers a temporary escape from reality, the need to feel good for a moment. But it's just like the wind, yearning it through the whole body. We crave adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, endorphin, cortisol. The whole lot of hormones and chemical reactions. These substances that our body produce become like addictive drugs. They make us feel as if the body was lighter, as if a wind-like current has passed through it, and we forget all our troubles. We feel we belong. We can escape reality. We can make it all go away. We feel fulfilled and accomplished, like the void is not there anymore. All of this for a very short time. If we're not careful, this quick fix of hormones becomes our definition of happiness, and we start seeking it. Unfortunately, like with any drug, we can become desensitized to it, and we always need a higher dose for it to take effect. A bigger car, a nicer house, a more expensive bag, more clothes, more toys, a new phone, a better looking body or face. For some, these substances come from outside: pills, alcohol, cigarettes, food, exercise, drugs, shopping, relationships, careers. It could also come from spiritual or personal development, even meditation, if the objective of the practice is the rush itself. How could I hold to it, follow and strive, reach high? The image of happiness as a horizontal chase, looking for the rush, will not allow us to seek vertically. The first time we experience the effect of a substance coming from within or without is usually the strongest. Then we can get stuck trying to reach the same high. Most people want above all to be happy, so the body takes over and completely runs the show. Abdullah Dugan. Happiness as we know it is always the result of a benchmark, a comparison between states. If we consider comfort as the neutral state, a base of happiness, quietness, is that enough? For some of us, it is. Does it keep us stuck in the comfort zone? What if the seeking of happiness was the problem itself? What if having happiness as our main life objective was keeping us from growing and evolving beyond the instinctual basics of safety, of the self and the species? Well, that was a really interesting discussion we had already, wasn't it? Hello, Dee, nice to see you. So, where did we get in terms of see if I can make this bold. Yeah, okay. The next line is quick fix, waterfall rush. I think this line we talked about it already quite extensively. What do you think that means? Quick fix, waterfall rush. It's still about instant gratification. Instant gratification. What comes to mind when I talk about instant gratification? What comes to mind? Expecting results right away without effort. That hits the nail right on the head. No investment of time. Are a symbol of instant gratification. Now, I want it now. I want it quick. From Willy Wonka. Are a symbol of instant gratification. We want everything now, right away, no effort. Feeling highly energized with happiness that lasts for a short period of time. That's right. So, if we are lucky, we live in a state of contentment with some rushes of happiness in there. That is the best state that we can probably reach and find without going deeper into ourselves and try to go beyond the definition of happiness. And what's really I found really interesting has been that if you look at social media, if you look at a lot of the self-help industry, a lot of the personal development stuff, it's like we have to be happy. It's like we have to show we are happy. So you put these pictures of you being with a perfect smile and you just, post it. And everyone sees you're happy, and then someone else does the same, and you see they are happy too. And then everyone have to show this. And the problem with that, particularly when this thing happens to rich people, to celebrities, because most of the people, you never see anyone crying. That's right, it's a false reality. And celebrities have to, it's part of the thing, isn't it? You show yourself happy, you show yourself in shape, you show yourself. So that is being a good role model, Robin Williams comes to mind, of course, yeah. There are so many that come to mind. And the problem is that now the kids that see that on social media feel they have to be happy as well. Um, and that is not okay to not feel happy, and that you have to try to find this happiness with every means you've got. And the problem you've got with that is that the happiness that we're trying to find is chemical, like we talked about. It's a chemical rush, it gives us a good feeling. Full stop. The question is, where is that baseline? Where are you? What's the average level of happiness that you've got day in, day out? What level of are you is it contentment? And is contentment enough for us to be happy with it? Being content between some happy, some sad, and a baseline of neutral existence. And if you say no and you aim to find the rushes and try to find a happiness within those rushes and try to increase the rushes, because that's pretty much the benchmark we've got, then you look for ecstatic kind of meditations. You try to find high adrenaline things like bungee jumping or going skydiving. Try to find the rush. Try to find more. Try to have it more often. Try to be happier by doing stuff. How does that sound? Does that sound right? We want everything now, right away, no effort. A life depicted as necessarily happy, as social media portrays, makes us want to get on the rush path. Love skydiving, never tried. Comedians are notorious for happy face, sad life, very. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Anything more than basic needs should bring us happiness? No, we always want more. And it's interesting you talk about Maslow, because at the top of the Maslow pyramid is self-realization, isn't it? Does contentment encompass some level of happiness, or is it just rolling through day by day with no really ups and downs? Well, that depends on the base level we are in. I think nowadays, if that was the baseline, that'd be great. Wouldn't it? I used to pack the parachutes for a job at Drop Zone. Oh, wow. Oh, talking about the rush, the rev, yeah. Will it open? The responsibility. Wow. So yeah, what's the baseline there? Is that lack of happiness mean happier? Because there's only happiness in relations to sadness or to hurt, right? Or to pain. So is the lack of happiness and the lack of pain happiness itself? Oh, it was life-changing. I never jumped. It's good to think you were good at it, Rev. So for all those of you on YouTube, if you're not seeing who I'm talking to, is because there's also a chat with a few more people on Inside Timer. So the quick fix, the waterfall rush. So what do you think? Is it, where's the happiness then? Is being happy not being happy? Doesn't it sound... 'Cause let's go back to this line that we wrote about Abdullah Dugan. Most people want above all to be happy. So the body takes over and completely runs the show. The rush path. But let's not forget that the waterfall of hormones is coming from the body center. Anything coming from the body is part of the body. It is a fine line that needs to be discovered in the pursuit of true happiness. Hi, Monica. Flying one's body. That's fun. Away from the ground. Yeah, it is unusual. As part of a body, it is a fine line that needs to be discovered in the pursuit of true happiness. Very nice to see you, Monica. This is such an interesting thing to think about. If I'm not seeking happiness as I know it, what am I seeking? What am I seeking? If I'm trying to go beyond the body, seeking to endure, let me ask you another question. There's like a difference between what we call happiness and what society calls happiness. Yes, I mean, in terms of what makes you happy, isn't that irrelevant in a way? Because whatever makes you happy creates the same reaction within the body, is still pretty much the same hormones, isn't it? Whatever, the trigger is irrelevant. If we go beyond the triggers and thinking about what makes us happy, rather than the what is not the trigger, is the chemical. So we are trying to literally go to a deeper level, to not thinking about things that make us happy, but what make us happy within the body, and that is adrenaline. So do you think we're here on holiday? Are we here on holiday? Do you think we're here on holiday? Is this earth a leisure park? I hiked the Camino. Afterwards, I had this peaceful beauty inside me. After 3 years and lots of stuff happened, I couldn't retain that feeling. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? was the Santiago one, Santiago de Compostela. My mom did that one. What's the answer? Is Are we here on holiday? Is this earth a pleasure park? Why are we here? To be happy? Are we here to be happy? On holiday, this life compared to next, or the one before, or the ones they're having in Africa or other places. The fact that we were born in a Western country compared to some lives, it might seem like we're here on holiday compared. Sometimes more purgatory than pleasure park, depending on circumstances. Yeah, so the circumstances play a big part. As we're here to learn lessons to be better next lives, yes. Or maybe to try and get out of the loop to, like, you know, wouldn't that be better? It's an interesting concept if you think about if you ask yourself why you're here and you answer yourself to be happy, then you answer yourself what is happy, and you start realizing that happy is a bunch of happy things that make you happy, and you try to do as many of those as possible. But at the end of life, what will you bring with you? Have so much to be thankful, but thankfulness does equate to happiness. That's interesting because being grateful is one of the biggest, the strongest emotions that we can use. That we can use to be happy. Be grateful. So be thankful, and love. Compassion does not equate to happiness. Yeah, it does not equate to happiness. But it is really interesting. It is an interesting feeling, the one of thankfulness, because it's not the same rush, isn't it? I don't know what it is. It would be interesting to research. What's the let's me do gratitude. Let's see if anything comes out. Okay, I'm going to show you this. Okay. Bear with me as I get it ready. I'm just missing that one. There I am. Okay, so this pandemic, it is much harder to find happiness totally alone. Oh, this pandemic has brought so much pressure. So much pressure. Hormones, let's see, hormones of gratitude. When we express gratitude, our brain releases dopamine and serotonin. Those are the two hormones that make us feel lighter and happier inside. Interesting. The neuroscience of gratitude and how it affects anxiety and grief. That's interesting. So it's dopamine and serotonin. Gratitude. Hormones of happiness. Oh, lots. Endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, melatonin, adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine, enkephalin, progesterone. Loads. We think we're happy when others perceive we're happy. It's very true. Last weekend I spent with a friend I haven't seen in a while. I felt so good after that visit. I realized it was because he validates me, does not put me down, lifts me up. Felt happy after 2 days. Yeah, it's quite nice when you have those sort of people. So, back to what we were saying. Gratitude is something we should definitely talk about more. And those two hormones we need to start thinking about. Okay, why just be happy when if this or that happens? Why is the topic of happiness making me feel so sad? I know, it does make me feel sad too. No, I don't think they're equal, gratitude and happiness. I think the reason why it makes us feel sad by talking about happiness in a non positive way, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to see what's behind the pursuit of happiness as we know it. And it's quite a controversial discussion because you wouldn't go to someone and say you should not be happy, right? Because it would mean you're telling them that they should be sad, which is exactly the opposite of what we're talking about. What we're talking about is how do we transcend happiness in itself, and how do we transcend sadness? Wouldn't true happiness would be, and it is a very Taoist kind of discussion, I think. Wouldn't real happiness be the absence of a reaction, of a chemical reaction? Would stillness be happiness? It's difficult, but let's go more into the positive side. But it is something that I would like you to think about. The art of happiness lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. I like that idea. Why just be happy? Okay, let's go into more of the happy stuff now, because we are talking about happiness in the end, aren't we? I am not trying to portray that we should not pursue happiness and be sad instead. I am trying to convey the message that if the aim of a person of this planet is to grow, then happiness and sadness need to be transcended, or they will become an anchor that will get us stuck and identified with our physical responses, which would make it impossible to achieve the awareness of a non-physical state or plane of existence. I'm not trying to portray that we should not pursue happiness and be sad instead. I am trying to convey the message that if the aim of a person on this planet is to grow, then happiness and sadness need to be transcended, or they will become an anchor that will get us stuck and identified with our physical responses, which would make it impossible to achieve the awareness of a non-physical state or plane of existence. Is that clear? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's tricky. This one is tricky. I'm not trying to portray that we should not pursue happiness and be sad instead. I am trying to convey the message that if the aim of a person on this planet is to grow, then happiness and sadness need to be transcended, or they will become an anchor that will get us stuck and identified with our physical responses, which would make it impossible to achieve the awareness of a non-physical state or plane of existence. What I'm trying to say here is, what am I trying to say here? If my aim in life is to find happiness, I will work towards a physical need. And that physical need could be emotional. I'm talking about physical as in the physical realm, physical as this world. And if we do not seek happiness and instead we seek growth, we seek personal growth, we feel self-growth, and then we move towards spiritual growth, then we may reach happiness without looking for it. So the achievement of that happiness, it's more likely to happen if your motive is not happiness itself. We will be more likely to reach happiness if happiness is not the motive. But say the non-physical reality equals happiness. comparison to the physical plane, as it is more refined, rarefied, less heavy, with less pressure. Say the awareness, the achievement of awareness of non-physical reality equals happiness in comparison to the physical plane, as it is more refined, rarefied, less heavy, with less pressure. Say that you then if the motive becomes transcending the body, happiness will follow. If happiness becomes the motive, then the pursuit will be horizontal within physical reality. You mean we find what we're not looking for by losing ourselves working through life challenges? Ooh. Let me get to that. I also love the quote from Eckhart Tolle. Is there a difference between happiness and inner peace? Yes, happiness depends on conditions being perceived as positive. Inner peace does not. Interesting concept. You mean we find what we're not looking for by losing ourselves working through life challenges? I think it goes beyond life challenges. I think life challenges are potentially just bursts of awakening moments, like chances for us to snap out on this torpor, this sleep, this constant being identified with our own body, gender, class, or whatever. So the life challenges are there to sort of give us like a test to see where we are within our development. Our reaction to them, to those adversities, will show us where we are on the path. But I think the work is purely within. So it's not without. And that means the work within is alchemical. It's completely alchemical. The work within is to get your own lead. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Is to get your own lead, discover it first, uncover it rather than discover it, uncover it, and be brave enough to see it and to work it. And as you chip in that lead, as you get lighter and lighter, life challenges become less challenges, become much easier, because the closer you get to water, the more you can adapt. But if you stay icy, you won't. You get broken. So if we can melt that lead, melt that ice, and change its state, it's like we have these veils between realities that we do, that are there for us to keep the pressure Imagine you had the clear knowledge, not the belief, but the clear knowledge that you are um, immortal. If you had the clear knowledge, not just the belief of being immortal, the pressure would go away. And so you wouldn't give yourself the chance to use that pressure to grow faster. So that's why the bet is we come here, we trade knowledge that we are something different than this body, and we hope that our set of personality, our set of ego and everything else, and body, mind, and emotional systems will remember. That's the hope we've got, is to remember what we're here for. Do you remember? And the great thing about remembering is that it doesn't take any level of awareness. It's like, it's not that you become Buddha if you remember. I mean, if you do go past a few veils, then yes, you might become enlightened or whatever. But remembering why you're here is such a powerful thing. And I've talked about it a few times, and you will hear me talking about it quite a bit because it's a really, really interesting principle. When we struggle within the life challenges, sometimes we get too engrossed into him. We get too caught up, and we forget about the bigger picture. We forget about the why we're here, or the why, or the what we're doing. And that is true of many, many different levels. It doesn't have to be hyper spiritual. It can be you know, you have your own business, and you're going through some struggles because of some failure, and you just struggle within that failure, and you forget to see the bigger picture, and the fact that that failure is just a part of that path, and that it's okay, and there is so much more to do. So what you try to do is separate out of it, separate out of that struggle, try to see it from above, and accept the fact that you are there, or you're here, at whatever level you are, whatever you're doing, and that as you just remember the big picture, you can calm down and go back to the struggle with more energy. So it's we want to pack as much life in our limited years as possible. Yes, I mean, the limited years we've got is the biggest gift. If you think it that way, it completely changes the way you think about life and death. If you see the limit of this life as the actual motor for us to achieve something, like a legacy, or have kids, or whatever your life motive is, without that limit, we wouldn't need it. It would be horrible. It would be like, oh, we would be able, at some point, we would achieve everything. If it was eternal, at some point we would know and have done every single thing. It would take away a really big amount of pressure. So that pressure is what we bargained for. We decided to come here. We decided to do it. Thoughts, ideas. it will be hard to snap out of, of this conversation going to the next line of the song. So if true happiness does not come from the rushes, why settle? Why just be happy when if this or that happens or not? It's funny because this line is it's quite we to fit it in, we sort of played around with it. Why just be happy when comma if comma this or that happens or not? Oh, it's such a bad English. It's a bad English saying a bad English to begin with. Why just be happy when if this or that happen? It just doesn't make any sense. Let's go review this line, shall we? Why just be happy why just be happy when this or that happens, or why just be happy when this or that happens or does not? When this or that happens or does not. Quick fix, waterfall rush. Why just be happy when this or that happens or does not? Why just be happy when this or that happens or does not? Slightly better. Who's left in the conversation? Have I left you stunned? Still here. Still here contemplating. Yeah. Alien Wheels is still here. D's contemplating. DD's contemplative. I love it that you all wrote the same thing. Good. That is what my aim is. Exactly to put you there, in that state of contemplation. I call that state deep thinking, and I think it's such a powerful thing to do, deep thinking. Cokes all around, Rev J. What kind of party are you having? That deep thinking, it's a muscle we don't jinx party. Love it. That contemplative state, that deep thinking, is something we should practice a lot more. If you start deep thinking and questioning things, you can find some really interesting answers about reactions that people had and ways people are behaving. Um, I am at the house of my really two good friends. You might have seen Carrie Leanne sometimes here on on the live, and we had a really interesting conversation about a person she knows, and you know, it starts with like a simple behavior of that person. And if you start questioning that behavior and deep thinking that behavior and try to ask yourself, why is that person doing that? And when you find like the why, just try to find the why next, and try to go deeper into what could have made that person have that type of behavior, because that happened. But there is a whole load of reasons that can go as deep as whatever rabbit hole you've been into. If you start going through rabbit holes and you do that consistently, like start deep thinking things, particularly when they annoy you. When something does something or says something that annoys you, that's the best ones to start deep thinking. Because once you deep thought all the possibilities of why that person may have acted some way or another, and you found some interesting questions, and you find out that your harsh feeling of um, your harsh feeling can turn into compassion very quickly, as long as you don't turn them into pity. And that already is just a really interesting thing to do. But then the next step is, okay, so let's start questioning my feeling of annoyance towards that behavior. Where is my trigger? And start deep thinking that. It's a really interesting process, because it's like there is the non-thinking that in a lot of meditations and practices we try to do, to not think. But not think is potentially a state. But what I would add to that, and then it's time for us to finish today because it's only going to be an hour long, is what part of the mind thinks. The not thinking with the superficial surface part of the mind is possible when a deeper mind is thinking. So deep thinking, if you practice deep thinking, we give ourselves a chance to develop the mind part of our three brains, which are mind, emotion, and physical. So think about it. Have a think, and then bring it back here, and we'll keep going. I won't be live tomorrow, but I will be on Tuesday. Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. UK time, 2:30 Europe, which would be the mornings for you guys Eastern. So it's 8:30, I believe, Eastern. It's a morning session. So there's going to be a morning session Tuesday, another late session, and I'm on Wednesday, and a morning one on Thursday, I believe. I will post them on Inside Timer, so you guys can see them. The Tuesday one is already there if you feel like clicking through. And if you haven't gone to the website yet, go have a check. There is the Rumi meditation that you can do if you sign up. So soulbrunch.tv is there if you guys want to. I'm here in the UK for a few days, probably until about the 22nd, because 10 of these days are in isolation, so I'll be stuck inside for a while. Well, that'll be giving me time to be with you and to produce, to work on content and stuff. So it's actually not too bad. Plus, I have good friends here supporting me, which is amazing. And also, Dolores has been organizing a tour for me to come to the US for the summer, which will be absolutely amazing. And so if you want any more information about that, do befriend Dolores and have a chat with her. I think she I can see her here. I'm not sure if she's able to get to chat. But I hope, well, I think I got you to contemplate, which is what I wanted to do. and I will be really interested to hear your thoughts about this on Wednesday. So, if it's morning, have a wonderful morning. If it's afternoon, a fantastic afternoon. If it's evening, have a great evening. And if it's night, well,